Today we're going to talk about lack of foam or very little foam with your foam cart and what the problems could arise and how to fix them. So first of all, it's better to know that the entire system runs off of an air compressor that's located behind these fan panels. The fans keep it cool so it doesn't overheat. So if these fans quit running, you need to get them replaced so you don't blow the motor up. The back part of the air compressor has a safety release valve on it that off-gasses the air at 50 psi. So again, it doesn't burn the air compressor up. If you hear that safety valve popping, you've got an air restriction in the system that needs to be fixed, and it's typically on the back of this panel, right behind the air coupler, is a little needle valve that looks like a watch dial on it, and it's a black box about 1 inch in size. It has been turned all the way down. Okay. Foam is created by having the appropriate cleaning solution. So the only things that you should be using in this tank are the high energy foam, the foam armor, or the high energy green. Those are specially formulated for the foam cart, and follow the instructions as far as the dilution ratios. If you're using somebody else's chemistry or something that's not even supposed to be in the tank, you're not going to generate the foam, and it can be causing clogs and things like that in the system. So you need a liquid, you need air, and then you need a foam generator to produce the foam. So those are the 3 ingredients that you have. Any one of those 3 things are missing, whether it's the air, the appropriate solution, or the foam generator, you won't get any foam. So let's go over the most common mistakes that people make that cause the foam to go away. So if you start out, the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're producing really good foam, and all of a sudden the foam production goes down to almost nothing. You've left the red cap on the back of the machine tightened down. This is for transporting the cart only from job to job. You do not run the cart with the cap in place because it forms a vacuum in the tank and it won't let any of the solution come out of the tank. So that's a quite common mistake. Second common mistake are solutions. I've gotten well over 24 phone calls that either the technician forgot to put the solution in with the water, so it was just straight water in the tank, or they've used a non-foaming chemical in the tank, and that's why the foam isn't being produced well, because it's the wrong chemistry. The next most common are you have an air and a liquid coupler at the cart, and you also have it at the foam generator black box. And these couplers weren't seated properly. They weren't all the way in. So double check just to make sure that the liquid coupler and the air coupler on both this black box and the liquid coupler and the air coupler on the cart are seated properly. Okay, so those are the most common problems. Then if all that's been done and you checked and we've got the appropriate solution in there, the tethers are hooked up properly, you hear the air compressor running, now we can, if you still don't get foam generation, now we're going to look at where is the barrier or the choke point that's not allowing that to occur. So the first thing that you want to find out is air still coming through the system. So you can take the blue solution line off. This is a quick disconnect on the foam generator, and put your hand here, and if you can feel air coming out of that, then you know that air is not the issue, it's a liquid issue. So from a liquid issue then, we're going to start at the filter. This filter is the filter for the solution to keep any debris from getting in to the pump or to the systems and cause foaming. So within this filter, there's 4 components that you want to look at. So you have this white cap or clear cap, and there's a little black O-ring in there. So those are 2 components there. You want to make sure there's no cracks in your cap. If there's a crack there, it can't form a vacuum to create the solution to come up from the tank into this diaphragm pump we're going to talk about later. You've got the fine mesh screen that filters out any debris that got into the tank, and again, keeping that from running through the solution. So if you look at how fine that mesh is, there's very little that can get past this mesh. And then you've got the body of the filter. It's got two 3/8" barbs on both sides, and if you notice on the side there's an arrow. That arrow has to be pointing up to this electrical panel. If it's pointing downward, then you're going to get clogs in there because of the way this is designed. So this design filters from the inside of the filter, not the outside. So if you're just visually looking at it, it's going to look perfectly fine because all the debris is on the inside. You physically have to unscrew this cap. It's real easy to do. It's on, it screws off, you pull the filter out, and then you can rinse it out in a sink. This is located right here on the cart above your chemical tray. So I specifically put it here so it's easy to get to. Now, to determine whether the clog is above that filter or below it, so just think about how fine that mesh was. What could possibly get past that mesh above that filter? Isn't going to be any debris. It can only be a chemical residue from something sitting there for a long period of time, or something got clogged, but it's not a debris clog, it's a chemical clog. Anything below this could be anything as large as got accidentally dropped into the tank that got in through the plumbing. So this is the best place to start. Now, anything that gets clogged, that has a clog above this filter, the diaphragm pump, again, we're going to talk about this, will quit working. You won't hear it making that tick, tick, tick. Every couple seconds you'll hear the slight tick. That's how you know this is running. So if you're hearing that ticking noise, the clog is below the filter. If you're not hearing the clicking noise, we know the clog is above the filter. So that's a dead giveaway of which way to start. So if we're hearing the ticking noise of this diaphragm pump, but we're not getting any solution, we know the clog is below this filter. So it's an easy fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom black barb off the filter, like we've done here, and we've got a pipe cleaner that's 30 inches long, and we can put that through that tube all the way back into the tank, and whatever debris is causing that to be able to come through, now it's been dislodged. So you always have to look at the narrowest or liquid passage. That's going to be the choke point. Where is it the most narrow, and that's where the debris is going to get clogged. So if you notice where this black tube is, looks like this, and I've just taken this off. Look how wide this is. Nothing's going to get clogged in there. It's going to get clogged up here because this is the narrowest gap. So that's what we're trying to do, is take that tube all the way through here. So I'm going to take this, it fits right in this tube, and it's flexible, so I can shove this all the way in, and you'll see it come through here. So I'm knocking everything out. I can open my drain valve, run water through there, and dislodge what was clogging it in the tank. Remove this, and we can go ahead and take the barb. It's just a push barb. You push it on there, and it's reconnected. So that dislodges the clog that's below the tank, so we can get rid of that. If you don't hear the ticking noise, then we know it's above the tank. So you go back to our diaphragm pump that's powered by the air compressor. It's moving the solution through the entire system. So this is picking the solution line up from the cart, and this back black line is what's pushing it out through the tether and into the scrubbing machine itself. And where's the choke point on that? It's right here. This is the thinnest wire. This is an 1/8" gap tube here, where this is a 3/8. So this is the smallest one, so the clog has to be here, is where it's going to get bunched up. It wouldn't bunch up here. If it was, then it wouldn't be back here. So again, you got to look at that screen. that we're talking about. How thin is that material? Nothing large can get past that screen, so it's always going to be a chemical clog. To fix this, it's pretty easy. These are quick disconnects in the back of your liquid coupler. This is the liquid coupler. It's the one on your far left. And it's a check valve. So we're going to take this quick disconnector, dislodge that tube, and now we can use our clean out kit. And I'll show you how to do that. Plug it in here, and then we can blow that chemical residue that's causing that out of the back. And because it's check valve on the back, those sometimes just go bad. You know, it's a defective, so that just means that we need to replace this. But that's where to check. So if it's not in the cart, it might be in the tether. So we check and say, nope, everything's flowing really good in the thing, but as soon as I put the tether on there, it's clogged. Again, we go back to the tether. They have these water nips on them that are check valve, and that chemical debris can get behind there. So again, we can go to our clean out kit, plug that in, and blow the water through. The problem is that the tether has a nip on both ends. So either one of them being clogged is going to keep the solution from going through. So you have to be able to open up both and check both at the same time. So just follow the water. So everything has to be hooked up on both ends to figure out what end has the clog in it. So it could be the tether hooked up here, or it could be the tether that's hooked up here, is where either one of these couplers could have the clog in it. So we can test with our clean out kit both connection points to see where the clog is.